Hello and welcome to DCN Weekly, a regular roundup of Australia's shipping, ports and logistics news. This episode covers the week ending 28th of November 2025. And I'm Lindsay Reid, publisher at DCN, and it is just me today. David is off at the Shipping Australia Christmas lunch in Melbourne. Christmas festivities kicking off already and we're not even in December. So let's crack on with what's been making headlines DCN this week. Well, it's been another busy week across the sector. When is it not? The big conversation still rolling on from last week is, of course, the DCN Shipping and Maritime Industry Awards. If you haven't had a chance yet, you can find the full list of winners, highly commendeds and finalists online. And we're also working hard on the full awards wrap-up with all the photos, interviews and videos from the night, which will be out very soon. Now on to this week's news and what's been making headlines. We had some breaking news earlier this week, and that was the news that Qube Holdings has confirmed a major takeover approach. The board has unanimously backed an $11.6 billion indicative offer from Macquarie Asset Management. Macquarie is proposing to acquire all Qube shares for $5.20 in cash per share via a scheme of arrangement, and that represents a nearly 28% premium above Qube's last closing share price, and over 45% once you strip out the value of Qube's stake in Patrick. The offer follows an earlier lower bid, and Qube has now granted Macquarie a period of exclusive due diligence through to the 1st of February 26. The board has said it intends to recommend the deal to shareholders if a binding agreement is reached at $5.20 or higher, and if an independent expert concludes that the transaction is in the shareholders' best interests. Qube emphasises that there's no certainty that the proposal will progress to a binding deal, and shareholders aren't required to take any action at this stage. Well, over at the Port of Brisbane, there was a serious weather-related incident at the port earlier this week, with winds reaching up to 70 knots. 4 vessels broke or partially broke from their moorings. The ATSB has opened a formal investigation examining mooring equipment, collecting data from ships, vessel traffic services and pilotage providers, and interviewing masters, pilots and other parties. The investigation is expected to conclude in the second quarter of 2026. The vessels that were involved were the container ships Volans, MSC Barbara and Wide India, as well as the car carrier Viking Passama. Each experienced mooring line failures in the extreme conditions, with some vessels drifting into the channel before tugs and pilots assisted. Queensland's Department of Transport and Main Roads confirmed there were no injuries, no pollution and no significant infrastructure damage, and all of the ships were safely anchored. The port remained open to shipping throughout. Well, another safety-related story occurred in Victoria in Port Phillip Bay, where the MSC Wallaby Service container ship MSC Maritina 5 reported a main engine alarm while inbound from Tauranga. The vessel was anchored in the South Channel as a precaution, with Ports Victoria temporarily closing the channel to large commercial traffic. The ship was later moved to the Melbourne outer anchorage with assistance from Switzer tugs. AMSA has detained the vessel while it investigates to ensure the ship is fully seaworthy before resuming the voyage. MSC Maritina 5 has been due to take the next Wallaby service slot, so another vessel in the service, MSC Sheena 5, was brought alongside instead. And separately earlier in the week, MSC Barbara briefly grounded in mud in the Brisbane River after being blown off the berth during Monday's storm that we were talking about a little earlier. But it was quickly refloated and taken to anchor. Well, turning overseas, Zim Integrated Shipping Services has revealed its board has received indications of interest from multiple parties, including strategic investors, months after previously rejecting a takeover bid. The board has been conducting a strategic review of alternatives since a preliminary offer from its president and CEO Eli Glickman and Rami Ungar of Ray Car Carriers back in August. Evercore is advising on financial matters, with Maita and Skadden providing legal counsel. Zim says it's focusing on maximising shareholder value, exploring potential sales, capital allocation and other options. There's no certainty that any deal will result, and the board does not expect to provide further updates until a decision is reached. The company has also strengthened its board with 2 new independent directors with substantial financial expertise. Israeli media has speculated that Maersk could be among the interested parties, though nothing is confirmed. And some positive news now out of the north. Darwin Port has reopened after being closed for about a 2.5-day period due to Cyclone Fina. Operations resumed around lunchtime on Monday with minimal disruption to shipping and no significant damage. Port CEO Peter Dummett credited early preparation and rapid assessment by operational teams and the Royal Australian Navy's HMAS Lewin for the smooth reopening. Pilot boats confirmed shipping channels were clear, allowing commercial and coastal vessels to resume safely. And elsewhere, Kimberley Ports has preemptively cleared vessels from Wyndham Port and maintained cyclone watch alerts at Yampie Sound and Derby, with no adverse impacts reported. Overall, Northern Ports managed Cyclone Fina well and shipping operations are back on track. And finally, a bit of Christmas spirit from Port Botany. More than 50 volunteers from across the port community recently came together to pack gift bags for seafarers, aiming to boost their mental health during the festive season. Staff from Port Authority of New South Wales, NSW Ports, Worcester, Engage Marine, DCN, of course, Ampol and many others took part, with Spitzer Australia providing a barbecue lunch and support from the New South Wales Seafarers Welfare Fund. In addition to Seafarers, Sydney CEO Clayton Strong said that for seafarers who often haven't seen their families for months, even a small gift bag can make a big difference. Sister Mary Leahy from Stella Maris highlighted the 2,000 toy koalas now heading around the world, along with Aussie fridge magnets, socks and handwritten Christmas cards, all thanks to the volunteers' hard work. She said the event was a true display of community spirit, generosity and the spirit of Christmas in action, with pilots delivering the gift bags directly to ships throughout December. Well, that is it for this week's DCN Weekly podcast. You can read all these stories plus many, many more on our website, thedcn.com.au. And don't forget the full awards coverage coming out shortly in the awards brochure and December-January edition. Thank you for tuning in. If you'd like to get in touch, do drop us a line at editorial@thedcn.com.au. We'd love to hear from you. And we will be back next week with more shipping, ports and logistics news. Meantime, have a great weekend.